Last year I said this board was the best pump board available on the market. Sadly, I had to rewrite my beliefs because they came up with this one. Now, this thing is absolutely insane. And not only because when you hold it, it seems like you're holding the waist of a nice chick, but for many other more meaningful reasons. So stick until the end, because in this video I'm going to explain exactly why this board is something unlike anything you've ever tried and you ever pumped with. Stick around.
Like the thunder in the sky, keep on rolling. Like a rebel on the run, you can't hold me. So come and get out, come and get out. Can you feel all the fire born with desire? Get me outside, gonna light up the sky. Hey!
In case you're new here, my name is Gael and I've been pumping for around about 3 years now, and I've been riding Ketos for about a year, and since then I'm proudly riding handcrafted French-made carbon fiber. But let me talk about this board. This is something like I've never tried before. I used to think that the Doc 90, was the best pump board on the market, and then they just told me, shut up, that's not true, when they came up with this board. Now, let me just make the premise that this is not a board for everybody. I wouldn't really use this board as a beginner, mainly because it makes the foil so responsive and so sensitive that you're gonna make your life maybe harder if you use it as a beginner. But if you are an intermediate trying to push boundaries, or an advanced rider trying to go faster and turn sharper, then really this is the way to go, or even to go further. No surprise, Edan, that teenager who's winning every single event of the Surf Foil World Tour, every single pump foil race, he's riding this board. He's riding this exact same board. Of course, he's got full straps on it. By the way, if you are at that level, yes, you can get inserts for foot straps because it's handcrafted, so you can get pretty much whatever you want. But if he's using and ripping every race with this board, then there is a reason, right? Because often the board, especially when pumping, is overlooked. You know, people think, yeah, whatever, like the most important thing is the foil, right? No, it's not. And try 2 different boards back to back on the same foil, and you're gonna understand how big of a difference the board can make. Like this board, for example, can really make the foil seem smaller. It's insane. It's so sensitive, and it kind of disappears below your feet, and it makes the foil seems smaller. It makes the stab seems smaller again, and the fuse seems shorter. It's a very weird feeling. That's why it might take a little bit to get used to it, but every movement now it's absolutely directly transferred to the foil. It's almost like not having anything below your feet. It's almost like being directly connected to, not even to the mast, but to the foil. You're really one thing with the foil. It's a very weird feeling. By the way, if you are looking to order this board after the review, you can order it from the link in the description. You can also use my code, but if you don't use it, I don't really care too much, so just get yourself a nice board and push boundaries. Anyways, coming back to the board, you might wonder what's the weight of this board? Well, it's just above 1 kg. It's handcrafted, so it might vary just slightly. It might be 100 grams more, 100 grams less, but this board is around 1 kg. And I believe that you cannot really go really lower than this without compromising sturdiness, without compromising stiffness, and without compromising comfort, because you cannot really make it narrower, you cannot really make it shorter, and you cannot really make it thinner here in the middle, otherwise you just might break, right? Now, you might think that the tracks here are too short, but in actual fact, being a board that you wouldn't normally use with gigantic, massive, slow, clumsy foils, you never really feel the need to move the foil around, to move the mast around too much, because again, this is mainly to go fast, turn sharp, or maybe go far, but still with fastish foils, right? So for example, you could use it with Kobun 133 or with the Pump 1570. These foils are, yes, good for long distance, but they're still quite fast. You know, the average speed is 18, 17, 19 kilometers an hour. So not those slow foils that you might have seen around. All right. Now, let me walk you through the real thing that I love about this board, which is not just the weight, not just the outside shape, but the real difference is the deck. Now, I liked the Dock 90. One thing that I wasn't really super happy about was the deck, because yes, it's got a little bit of concave, but to make it more accessible to more beginner riders, the concave is not really that heavy. This got a quite solid concave, as you probably could see, especially at the back. You can see that at the back, the concave is even more pronounced than in front. And this is because, of course, you need more concave at the back than you need in front. And it's also got a very subtle scoop. And again, it's just so that your front foot sits nicely there and doesn't really move around. And that's the biggest difference in my opinion. Besides the weight, this is what makes this board so special. Because now you have maximum control. And one thing that I really appreciate and shows how well thought through this board is the shape of the concave deck. Because it's not concave all the way, because that would give you like a weird feeling. Because if it's like concave all the way, you don't have maximum contact with the board. But as you could see, in the middle it's kind of flat, and then it kind of goes up towards the edges from here, kind of like. And that's perfect, because this way your foot is still quite flat when it's here in the middle. But then as soon as you lean a little bit on the edges, you can leverage these nice corners, this nice scoop, lateral scoop, to just have maximum control and never ever lose control when you're turning. So this is what makes this board so special besides its weight. Now, you see this pad, you might be scared, you might feel a bit rough, and I like it. It's not my favorite. I still prefer the peel ply thing that I had on my previous Dock 90. It's not a huge difference. It's just that they changed the production method and they cannot replicate that same peel ply effect with the new method just yet. Maybe they're going to be able to in the future. But as of now, the options are either this skateboard type of painting, this kind of like sandy painting, which is fine. I like it. It still grips quite well. It grips better if you are using socks or these little funny shoes with fingers. But they can also build it with a pad for you, right? So really, it's highly personalized, not only in terms of painting, colors, but also the pad can be personalized. For example, Edan has a very thin pad, and then of course inserts, like I said, for foot straps. So if you prefer to have a pad, a classic pad, they can add a pad for you, maybe just 2 pieces of pad where you need, again, to keep the weight down. And the pad is very thin so that you don't lose connection. Because one problem, like you can make the stiffest, lightest board on the market, but then if you add a thick pad, it kind of misses the point, because especially with small foils, like the Carve 950, you need extreme precision, and you cannot allow yourself to have something too soft below your feet, because then otherwise you just lose precision and connection. So it kind of misses the point. So that's that really. You can get yourself this board again from the link in the description. I don't really mind if you don't use my code. I don't really mind. But yeah. I think that this is really the last video I'm gonna make on the best board, the best pump board on the market, because I really genuinely believe that this is probably impossible to outcompete, right? Unless new technologies and new materials are gonna come up with carbon fiber, with the current technology that we have in 2025, this is probably as sleek as you can get. All right. So once again, this was my review of the Ketos Skull 80. You can get yours from the link in the description. And if you want to see the old review of the Dock 90, just to see how it compares, you can click up here somewhere to check it out.